Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. If this is your first time here, thank you for visiting today. Today is our Missing Person Monday episode. I have 4 cold case missing persons with mysterious circumstances, suspicious circumstances. There have been arrests and convictions in some of them. So let's get started. Samantha Rose Sperry went missing on March 28, 2018 from Graves County, Kentucky. She's a white female. She was 25 years old at the time that she disappeared. She'll be 31 years old today. She was 5'6", 120 to 130 pounds. She was last seen wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt, gray sweatpants with a red waistband, and sneakers. She was struggling with substance addiction at the time of her disappearance. She had been through a rehab program before, and her aunt had planned to suggest that she go into rehab again. She had blonde hair, hazel eyes. She had numerous tattoos. She had a rose with a skull on her right shoulder, 2 roses and the word rose on the right side of her lower abdomen, and a tiger lily and a sunflower on her left thigh. Her ears are pierced, and her eyebrow may be pierced, and some accounts refer to her as Samantha Jones Sperry. Samantha was last seen in Graves County, Kentucky on March 28, 2018. She and her boyfriend, Ren Lee Henriksen, decided to take Samantha's car back to her home to spend the night, and Samantha left with his father, Dusty Holder, on a 4-wheeler. Holder later said that he and Samantha got lost after the 4-wheeler got stuck in the mud, and then he ran out of gas. They spent the night in the woods and began walking out the next morning. According to Holder, the 2 of them came out of the woods at the Kaler Bottoms by the bridge near Highway 31 and Highway 849. They were cold, wet, tired. He suggested that they walk to the Kaler Mart to warm up and get something to eat, but Samantha told him that she was going to go to her cousin's house, which was nearby. They parted ways. Holder went to the Kaler Mart, and Samantha was last seen walking toward Highway 849. She never showed up for her 9 p.m. shift at work, and she has never been seen or heard from again. That evening, after Holder told Henriksen what had happened, Henriksen called his mother and told her that he had taken pills and was going into the woods to pass. The next morning, police launched a search for both he and Samantha. Her car was found abandoned at the intersection of Highway 131 and Dooms Chapel Road, south of Simpsonia, Kentucky. Authorities found Holder's 4-wheeler during a ground search. There was only one set of footprints around it and one set of footprints leading out to the woods. Investigators also found 2 cell phones, both of which belonged to Holder, in the ashes of a small fire. They stated the evidence at the scene did not match Holder's story, and there was no sign that Samantha had ever been in the vicinity. Henriksen resurfaced on April 1st when he went to Holder's house, dehydrated. He was hypothermic. He asked for assistance. He was taken to the hospital for treatment. In his account to police, he stated he had taken items belonging to Samantha and to himself into the woods and had lost them, and these items were never recovered. Both Holder and Henriksen were questioned multiple times about Samantha's disappearance. Both men passed polygraph tests. Samantha's sister does not believe that she got lost in the woods prior to her disappearance, as she had lived in the area her whole life and she was very familiar with the woods. Police later found blood in Samantha's home and her vehicle, and they sent it to the lab for analysis. She was separated from her husband at the time of her disappearance, and they shared joint custody of their children. Her family fears that Samantha became a victim of foul play, but the circumstances of her disappearance are unclear, and her case does remain unsolved. So if you have any information regarding Samantha's case, please call the Graves County Sheriff's Office at 270-247-4501. Marsha Ann Forsberg went missing on February 1st, 2010 from Rancho Santa Margarita, California. She is a white female. She was 60 years old at the time she disappeared. Today, she will be 74. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5'10", 150 pounds. Marsha had previously been treated for breast cancer, but had been in remission for years by the time that she disappeared. She had brown hair, blue eyes. Her name is pronounced Marcia, and her maiden name is Litoff, and her ears are pierced. Marsha's loved ones last saw her sometime in February of 2010. She lived in Rancho Santa Margarita, California, with her husband of 39 years, Richard Gustav Forsberg. When neighbors asked him where Marsha was, he gave various explanations for her absence. He said she stayed indoors because she had allergies, that she had gone on vacation to Arizona and will be back in time for the 40th wedding anniversary, and that he and Marsha had separated. After 6 months of being unable to reach Marsha, her neighbors contacted the police, who went to interview Richard. Richard stated that he had not seen Marsha since March 13th, but he never filed a missing persons report. Authorities also learned that Marsha had not used her credit cards, bank accounts, or cell phone. The next day, when the police went back to the Forsberg house to interview Richard, he had vanished along with Marsha's silver 2001 Volkswagen Beetle with the California license plate number 4TIM403. I do include a picture of Richard and the vehicle. Investigators found Richard in Palm Springs, California hospital a few days later. He had been admitted as a patient after he tried to take his own life with an OD of prescription sleeping pills and muscle relaxants. He stated that he had taken Marsha's life during an argument at their home on February 9th, the day after the 42nd anniversary of their first date, something that they celebrated every year. He stated that he bludgeoned her in the head with a small statue and decapitated and dismembered her body before he rented a motorhome and used it to transport the corpse to the Lake Piru recreation area near the Los Padres National Forest. And he also stated that there he burned the remains in a campfire. The couple's marriage had been troubled for several months prior to Marsha's passing. It was strained over health issues and his infidelities. Richard was charged with first-degree homicide with the special circumstance of lying in wait. At his trial, his defense argued that he had taken his wife's life in a fit of anger, and he was guilty only of manslaughter. He was convicted of second-degree homicide in 2012 and sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. Foul play is obviously suspected in Marsha's case due to the circumstances involved, and her body has never been recovered. So if you have any information on Marcia's case, please contact the Orange County Sheriff's Department at 714-647-7000. Richard James Kirk went missing on January 24th, 2010 from Only Springs, Colorado. He is a white male. He was 60 years old at the time of his disappearance. He will be 75 today. He was 5'9", 230 pounds. Unknown what he was wearing when he disappeared, but he usually wore a flannel shirt over a cotton shirt, jeans or work pants, and work boots. He had grain brown hair and brown eyes. He has a gray beard and mustache. He may have wore eyeglasses for reading. He did have a speech impediment that may make him difficult to understand. On January 24th, 2010, Richard was seen in Only Springs, Colorado. He was rejected by a love interest that day, and he wanted to start a medical substance business. Richard was reported missing by relatives that same month. There was a possible sighting of him in Laramie, Wyoming in November of 2010. He was supposedly homeless in that area, planning to move on because of the cold weather. After his disappearance, his white 2000 Buick Century with Colorado license plate 462DOD was found abandoned in Fountain, Colorado. He has never been seen or heard from again. In April of 2016, Richard's nephew, David Jacob Kirk, was charged with second-degree homicide, concealing a death, abuse of a corpse, and possession of a weapon by a previous offender in connection with Richard's disappearance. His only prior criminal record was for felony embezzlement. Later that month, Richard's brother, John, who is David's father, was charged with being an accessory to second-degree homicide in Richard's case. Authorities stated they believe Richard's life was taken over a family conflict. Little information has been released about the case against the defendants. Foul play is obviously suspected in Richard's case due to the circumstances involved. His remains have never been found. So if you have any information regarding Richard's case, please call the Crowley County Sheriff's Office at 719-267-5263. Carrie Monroe went missing on January 20th, 2010 from Berlin, Connecticut. She's a white female, 29 years old, 5'1" to 5'3" tall, 110 to 130 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black waist-length jacket, blue jeans, and black sneakers with a red design. She has brown hair, blue eyes, and her ears are pierced. Monroe was staying at the Comfort Motel in the 300 block of the Berlin Turnpike in Berlin, Connecticut at the time of her disappearance. She lived there with her boyfriend, who is the father of her son. She left the motel at 3:30 p.m. on January 20th, 2010, and afterwards traveled to an apartment on the south side of Hartford, Connecticut. This is the last time anyone saw her. She has never been seen or heard from again. She did leave several items behind in the Hartford apartment. Monroe's boyfriend was arrested on an unrelated charge shortly after her disappearance. He did not report her missing. He stated that he thought she'd simply left of her own accord. Friends reported her missing 9 days after she was last seen. She is originally from Waterbury, Connecticut. She frequented the Connecticut cities of Hartford and New Haven. She did not have a vehicle at the time of her disappearance, although she has dropped out of sight for a few days at a time before. She has never gone without contact for this long, and her case remains unsolved. So if you have any information on this case, please contact the Berlin Police Department at 860-828-7080. So those are our 4 missing persons cases with mysterious circumstances for this week. If you found this video informative, interesting, please hit the like button, give it a share, give it a comment. If you have not already, please consider subscribing. I'll be back next Monday with another Missing Person Monday video. Until then, please take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take care of each other, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys.